Review True is not here with another rant. But while that was a poor attempt at trolling you, there have been times where video games managed to pull off some incredible moments that only seem to be designed at trolling the player. So with that in mind, here are 10 of my picks for the top 10 times games have trolled us. Enjoy. Or not, whatever. Metal Gear Solid 2, Fission mailed. Always great to kick off a list with a bit of Metal Gear Solid, but we should all know by now just how much trolling goes on in the second game. Not that MGS didn't troll the players in general, but I'd say that number 2 easily takes the biscuit. Snake isn't Snake and happens to be an unlikable character. Snake is someone else called
Pliskin. Iroquois Pliskin. Lieutenant Junior Grade.
Emma Emmerich managed to avoid drowning, Campbell needs some scissors, naked cartwheeling, and a Metal Gear that's turned into a Super Saiyan. But I'd say that the biggest troll moments comes after the cartwheeling part, when all of a sudden, the game over screen gets thrust into your face mid-fight, despite the fact that you still haven't died. Of course, this isn't actually a game over, the game is just trying to troll you, which should be an obvious giveaway by the fact that they spelt mission failed as Fission mailed. Oh, Kojima. Shenmue 2, don't move. Quite the underrated game if I'm honest, though I still stand by my statement that this one didn't age well, but Shenmue 2 does occasionally go out of its way to... Well, I don't think it's trying to troll you, I do think there were good intentions in there, but that doesn't change the fact that it still comes across as trolling. Near the beginning, you are trying to learn martial arts by approaching and being taught by certain masters around Hong Kong. And one of these guys is a barber. Now, up until this point, the player would have encountered quite a lot of QuickTime events, to the point where putting down the controller during a cutscene is not recommended. But during this scene, the barber will first tell you to not move, though you can't anyway because this is a cutscene. He immediately then whips out a knife and holds it to your throat. At that moment, a QuickTime event appears on the screen and literally screams at you to hit it. However, doing so will result in you failing the test, as by not move, the guy meant don't do anything. To pass this test, you do have to put the controller down, while failing it means that you'll have to wait another in-game day to try it again. But it doesn't change the fact that the developers knew full well that we were constantly on the lookout for QuickTime events, and exploited that fact to the fullest. Batman Arkham Asylum, fake game over. So you're going through Batman Arkham Asylum like, haha, this is great, oh my god, I'm having so much fun! When all of a sudden, BAM! The game just crashed! And now it's restarting on its own. Okay, that was weird. Wait, I'm all the way back at the beginning? What the f***? Hang on, something's not right here. As if the game crashing and then acting weird upon reloading wasn't bad enough, an unavoidable and fake game over screen where Batman gets shot in the head is presented to us like the icing on the cake. But as it turns out, this is all just the effects of Scarecrow's shenanigans, and the game didn't really crash. And what's more is that there are more moments like this to come, all of which is designed to simulate the experience of being under the influence of Scarecrow's hallucinogenic drugs. Street Fighter 2, Shenlong. With a game as popular as Street Fighter 2, fans were keen to get as much out of it as possible, unlock as much as possible, and go up against the hardest characters available. Which was why many fans were going nuts upon seeing the infamous line of having to challenge Shenlong in a fight if you want to become Master. Wait, who's Shenlong? Well, that's exactly my point. Shenlong isn't actually a real character in this game. He's mentioned in the lore of Street Fighter, but no character called Shenlong actually exists here. But that didn't stop players doing everything they could to unlock a new challenge that, well, didn't exist. And who can blame them when Electronic Gaming Monthly showcased screenshots of fighting this character in its April edition of the magazine? April edition? It's an April Fool's joke, isn't it? You fuck... Hitman Blood Money, not really dead. I suppose that in the Assassin's business, there aren't that many people you can trust. But at least your employer, or middleman to the employer, named Diana, is there for you. Oh, for fuck's sake, Diana. Yeah, so at the end of Blood Money, Agent 47 gets betrayed by his contact, aka the only friendly character in the game, as she injects you with a presumably lethal shot. The game then cuts to your funeral. Oh, come on, really? Is this absolutely necessary? And then the credits roll and wow, this game really wants to let me know that I'm dead so badly. Did somebody say dead? Said Agent 47, who then immediately stands up halfway through the credits, giving you full control over him once again, before you proceed to wipe out the entire funeral party. It's one of those moments where, if you didn't know it was coming, then you'd feel like an absolute mug for getting tricked by the devs here. Consider me trolled.
Mambo number 5.
Braid! Bad stuff and atom bombs. While this case is certainly incredibly clever, and the... oh yeah, spoiler alert here. And the main plot twist was phenomenal, I will say this though. Wow, I swear the creators of this game were counting on the fact that we're all thick as 2 planks of wood. What we thought was a quest to save a damsel in distress from a diabolical monster, soon turned out to be the other way around. The damsel isn't running to you, she's running away from you, and in Soviet Russia, the diabolical monster is you. But there isn't like this massive fanfare when the game reveals this. Instead, it just kind of leaves you there to stew in your own shittiness and self-loathing for a bit. Then after going back to the beginning and reading all the text documents again between each level, you begin to pick up on a recurring theme, and that theme is the development of the atom bomb. So... is this game suggesting that not only are we the bad guy, as well as, hey, fuck you, but is this also suggesting that we're responsible for the creation of that which may one day lead to nuclear conflict? Well, fuck. Why not throw in some racism and puppy genocide while you're at it? You've pretty much painted the player as the biggest cunt in the universe as it is, so why stop at damsel-stealing WMD manufacturer? Game of Thrones! Standing up to Ramsay Bolton. Spoiler alert again. Fans of the books or of the show will know exactly what kind of man Ramsay Bolton is. If you're not familiar with him, then imagine every member of the sadistic cunt committee being put into a teleporter, which then goes horribly wrong and merges all of them into one collective cunt. And then he gets radiation poisoning in Winterfell and now he's a giant cunt. So with that in mind, when we're given the option of having the young Lord Forrester either standing up to him, or bending over backwards for him, just shy of whipping out the lube, you'd think that the best option to pick here would be to take it like a champ. After all, picking the option of standing up to him is going to result in your death, and that's not even spoiler related because you kind of expect that from him. What we weren't expecting is that after deciding not to stand up to him, he kills you anyway. Well, fuck you, you giant cunt. But also, thanks Telltale for making it so that regardless of what I do, you're still gonna kill me like it's somehow my fault. You could say this about any choice that Telltale throws at you nowadays. Some of those choices will result in you getting chastised regardless of what you do, and it becomes less about what option to pick, and more about how much guilt you can handle. But this one's the most insulting! Pick option 1 to die, or pick option 2 to die like a pussy. X-Men! Reset. Games nowadays don't do this anymore, and thank Christ for that, because there'd be blood in the streets if it was. But back in the day, some games would include a feature where, in order to progress the game to the next level, or section, you'd have to perform what's known as a soft reset on your console. For all the millennials out there, what that means is that you'd have to very gently and very lightly press the reset button on your console, and that would reset the game, but only partially pressing it, as fully pressing it would reset the game completely, and if that happens then bye-bye progress, hello new game mode, and rage. But even back then, it was common courtesy for a game to tell you in clear detail that you needed to perform a soft reset. And so, if you then proceeded to do a full reset, then that's on you for fucking it up. You had one job, goddammit! So then, X-Men for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive, why the fuck did you not say that to us when you asked us to reset the game? This was back before the days of good internet, when most of us didn't have access to the internet. So when you told us to reset the game, we did just that. Cue the new game mode and rage. Instead of a new level, you've given us a troll. Ghosts and Goblins, start again. But while being liable for confusing players into starting the game all over again is bad enough, then making the player start all over again intentionally if they wanted to complete the game is taking the fucking biscuit, then taking it to a fucking bakery, and then slapping it down on top of the fucking cake. Congratulations on beating a game which is about as forgiving as the Spanish Inquisition. Now go do it all over again, you prick, because that isn't even the end of the game. That's right. This is a game where if you take more than 2 hits then you're dead, and 3 lives and it's game over, but once you've reached the end, if you reach the end and have beaten the boss, then the game tells you that this isn't actually the end. No, in fact you're only halfway there, living on a prayer. So if you actually want to get the actual ending of the game, then you've got to go back to the beginning and do it all over again. Why? Why would anyone want to do that? If you're watching this and you've actually beaten this game, then I don't know whether you're a legend, or if you simply hate yourself, because there's no way something like this can be played and taken seriously.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
Takeshi's Challenge! The entire fucking thing. I've got a question for you, and on a related note, I'd love to hear your experiences in the comment section. Let me know if this has ever happened to you and in which game it happened in. But like, have you ever played a game where you get to one point and you get stuck? So you then try absolutely everything you can think of and still nothing's working? Then after completely running out of ideas and not having a clue what the game's expecting you to do, you then go and check it out on a walkthrough, only to find out that the correct answer to the puzzle is something that's so ludicrously stupid that the only way you would have come to that conclusion was if you happened to be on drugs. Or extremely bored. Well, imagine that, but where the entire game is like that. Seriously, this game is so unnecessarily complicated. It's beyond the point of troll logic and has moved on to the realms of troll philosophy. To start with, you're required to quit your job, withdraw all your money from the bank, divorce your wife and pay her alimony, learn how to hang glide, as well as learning how to use an out-of-date instrument, then losing at a pachinko machine by shouting into the microphone on the Famicom controller. I mean, do you really want me to keep going? This is all just for starters. There is literally something bollocks at every corner, and I challenge any of you to seriously tell me that this is a decent game. It's not. It expects way too much from the player, and it knows full well what it's doing. Perhaps Beat Takeshi was trying to create something that would be considered to be a work of art, or perhaps a game that's way ahead of its time. But what we ended up with is one of the most shameful attempts of trolling the player, and for that reason alone, Takeshi's Challenge rightfully takes the #1 spot on this list. In conclusion, wait, wrong video. And that's all we've got time for, but if you're a professor of troll philosophy, then like this video and subscribe as usual. Don't forget that I'm on Twitter and Patreon, and you can find the links to both of those in the description below. And with that, I'm out of here. But until next we meet, see ya!
Sometimes I think this life is killing me. Sometimes I think this life is killing me.